control statements is the use of labels. So for example, I put this label 1 for this for loop, which is our main for loop. And within this for loop, we have another for loop. And now I want to tell this for loop to continue with the loop which is present after label 1. So what will happen is that when this is getting executed, it will not continue back to this particular for loop, but it will continue back to this particular for loop. Okay. Now let's see how this runs. So now, since we did not have anything after if, this is actually checking something, but then nothing is there, and the print statement is just after if. So that's the problem which was there. So let me just comment this part and run this again. Now you will see that for each of the temp, it is printing that it is coming to the loop. This is nested loop running, but then it is continuing back to the top. And now just because this label is there, that's why it is continuing the same process, and that's why the inner for loop is not running for how much time we actually planned, just because we actually caused it to continue back from the starting. Okay, and as soon as the temp is over, we do not go ahead with anything else. Now the last keyword which I want to share, which will actually disrupt this flow, is the return keyword. If I just write, if I check your name, then this should return. If I just do this, what will happen? I click it and nothing happens. Why? What happens is that this return will actually return the main method, the method which is causing all this code to run. It is actually returning the main method and stopping the execution of the program. Okay. Let's say if I just cut this and put this after. Okay. And if I click on run, then what is happening is that it is checking for temp, it is executing this loop, and it is continuing. The return statement is not executed at all. Okay. If I just remove this continue statement, or if I just comment this out, and now if I run this, now you can see that your name will be executed. Okay. Then this is nested loop, this is nested loop running is executed 3 times as we expect. And then it is checking whether temp is your name. Yes, it is. Then it is returning. That means for all the other elements within A, this is not getting used. This is how return will actually completely stop the execution and return from the method which is calling. Now remember, we can have any number of for statements, any number of continue statements, any number of break statements, any number of other loops as well. But return has to be only one. Okay. So if I have a return over here, then this will run only once. If I have multiple returns after that, these other returns will not execute, just because as soon as this return executes, then it actually returns, and none of the code after that is actually going to execute. So that's why we generally use returns with an if statement only, or whenever we check a condition, based on that condition only we want to return. Otherwise we want to keep doing that. So if I actually change this condition to world, so it should return only after world, then this will execute for your name, hello world, and then it's going to return. If I just change it to hello, then as you might have expected, this will only run for your name and hello, and then will return, not executing for anything beyond hello. So this is how return statement works.